In game one, we saw those young Celtics players we've been talking about, Jaylen Brown, Jayson Tatum, Terry Rozier. They are not afraid of LeBron James. It is just absolutely clear. What have they told you about their mindset?
It's amazing to me. I think the best quote we heard last week was Brad Stevens says, there's this power in being naive. It's like unlike a team like maybe Toronto, who has LeBron on the mind,
right.
These young Celtics, they're just unfazed by it. And it's funny, because I told Jaylen Brown this morning, I said, Brad thinks you guys are maybe a little naive, that you don't get overwhelmed. He's like, oh, no. Oh, no.
No, they know.
They know completely, but they don't allow it to overwhelm them, which is remarkable because you're talking about a 20-year-old, a 21-year-old, Terry Rozier, who finally gets the opportunity. I think it's credit for Danny Ainge for building this roster, credit to Brad Stevens for keeping these guys ready. But man, these guys are just unflappable.
Well,
I keep waiting for them to have that deer in the headlights.
Well, this is
Doesn't
what we
happen.
expect out of high draft picks. You know, these guys to come in and provide this, for your franchise. I didn't expect this to happen so soon, and these guys to have this type of mentality, but they're showing it, man. I mean, what I love about them is that they're so selfless. These guys, great character guys. I mean, I look at last game where Big Bangs didn't even start. They put in the Morris guy, and he was cool with that. Like, especially in the pivotal game, going into the Eastern Conference, the first time that these guys have been there, and this guy gets taken out of the starting lineup, and he has no problem with that. That just shows the character of this team, and I love watching these guys play.
One thing Al Horford said the other day was that the idea has been a growth mindset here. So Brad Stevens had said to these guys, I don't need you to succeed. That's not how I'm going to measure you. I'm going to measure you by whether you grow. And so with each step, they felt, okay, we have a workable goal here. We could do that. We could get a little better for the next game. And now it so happens that growing has ended up with winning. But by phrasing it that way, Al thought that maybe the young players' mindset, it just made them a little easier and more comfortable. Can you see that?
Yeah, I see that. And it helps to have a guy like Brad Stevens who's coached, on the collegiate level and know how to identify with these younger players. And it's registering with them. And to have a veteran leader like Al Horford, who's played in big games, who's been in the Eastern Conference Finals before, and these guys are just eating this up, man. And to me, yeah, it probably is some naiveness to how they're approaching this, but they're not worrying about who's on the other side.
That growth mindset is the reason why they're here, because you think about it, they start 0-2, they lose Hayward. Brad sits everybody down and goes, stop worrying about the big picture where everyone's telling you you're not going to be competitive. Just focus on the next game. And so they won one game, and then they won 16 games, and all of a sudden they've got this confidence, and it just started snowballing. So even when they lose Kyrie at the end of the year, they're like, hey, we've been through this before.
Right.
We can do this. So it's amazing that he got them to focus on such a small little thing, incremental growth. And now you get to this point. And that's why, even after winning game one against like the Cavs, Brad can sit them down and go, okay, don't get too excited. We're focused on game two. We're focused on playing well tomorrow. And that's all they got to do.
Still, though, the idea that this is a guy, they're all young enough that this is a guy who literally they grew up watching. I mean, there are pictures out there now floating around of Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown when they were very young. And Terry Rozier grew up in Youngstown, Ohio. I asked him, did you have LeBron's picture on your wall? He's like, no, but my brother did have the fat head on his wall. So that's who they're going up against, and boom, they're doing it.
Well,
it's very impressive.
It's no different. Like, if you have that competitive nature within you, although you grew up watching LeBron, I grew up watching Penny. Like when I faced these guys, I wanted to try to and destroy them. Like that's my idol, but I want to try to destroy him.
Do it even more.
Kobe Bryant did it when he got on the court with Michael Jordan. Allen Iverson did it when he got on the court with Michael Jordan. Like, that's what you do, and that's what these kids are doing.
I like that Jayson Tatum said he was super nervous that first game. We're going up against LeBron, and it took like maybe 6 minutes, and then he was just like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm 19. I'm just going to go be really good in the NBA.
Well, we'll see if he can do it again for the second game in a row tonight, because he certainly did it in game one.